question about Geneva. I mean, what role, what opportunities do you see for this very city in a purpose-driven world?
The opportunities are tremendous. First of all, we have international wealthy individuals who are very aware of what's happening in the world, and Switzerland is playing a key role in terms of bringing people together from the public sector to the private sectors. And there are a lot of conferences going on, and we want to make sure that we are there because we do have access to the private sector. And we need to make sure that the capital flows to sustainability by bringing the right investment opportunities.
High tech. Geneva has a lot of, it's got finance and it's got high tech. I think that those cities around the world that manage to create versions of big tech, of what's happening in Silicon Valley, that are consistent with human growth as opposed to simply exploiting humanity, which is what Silicon Valley does. Those cities are going to become attractors of talent, of high quality living, and I think Geneva has that. It has the opportunities of moving in that direction.
I think Geneva is in an incredible position. If retain that position and ensure that it creates an environment in which the new reality can strive. And what is this new reality? Today we have a world that's more divided, and so we need to pressure for more exchange, more alignment of policy, specifically around climate change and other matters like this. I can't think of another place than Geneva to have these discussions. This is probably the only city in the world that has of its size, that's every single nationality represented, every single government represented, whether it be through a consul or a diplomatic office. It has very large corporations that are active in Switzerland that have their headquarters in Geneva or Zurich or Bern. And so in this small country, we have kind of a sample of the world. And if we recognize that and we actually put what we call conditions cadres, or the required parameters, the frameworks, to let that world foster, that would be great. What's happening today is that it's more isolated. So we have the NGOs and public offices on one side, private companies on one side, on another side, and we need to really try and build these bridges. And there's great initiatives on that front that I know are happening in Geneva, and we definitely look to support them. But I think Geneva is absolutely in a unique position if it can create the framework for that to grow.
It's an important role for cities to play here. Now, Geneva has a couple of advantages. One is an affluent city. There is money in this city, which is not only, which can be used to do things. It's a relatively small city, although it has a global resonance, and therefore what happens here can be a good example for the rest of the world. But because it's relatively small, you can actually make things happen in an easier way than in a gigantic city like Los Angeles or Lagos. The third element here is Geneva is incredibly networked into the global system because of the UN agencies that are headquartered here and so on, because of the financial system and being a financial center. So I think that these are all points of leverage for Geneva to play together with other cities, a very important role. But you need to step up to that role and really play it locally and then project it out.
Geneva's the hub, right? Geneva's got a great presence of not just financial players and investors, but also the NGOs and the UN. One of the main things that needs to happen in order for us to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals is for the public sector and private sector to come together, to work together, to create new financing solutions, to crowd in the investment dollars where they're most needed. And I think it's a great place for that. It's also a very beautiful city, so.
I think Geneva could, play a critical role. And as an American, I think you do think of and look at Geneva as sort of this neutral land of very, intelligent people. Obviously, banking being such a central part of what Geneva is about. and where the money is, there's power, there's influence. So to use that kind of power and influence more and more for good and for just the benefit of, I would say, just the poorest of the poor would be my hope and my wish. And I think that's just a massive opportunity, but also in climate change, like helping solve some of these big issues and being a leader in that as a kind of epicenter of such a melting pot of global community here in Geneva, I think is really exciting.
It's a small city, it's a lot of culture, a lot of history here. It's an international city. It's traditionally always been the very welcoming place. So a lot of, my family's investors, they were international, but they felt comfortable coming to Geneva and raising their families.
First of all, I think Geneva is a beautiful city. C'est une belle ville. Celle-ci, c'est la première. Non, pas. Florence, pour moi, c'est la plus belle ville du monde. Mais j'étais le maire de Florence, donc je connais que c'est très important la beauté. I come back to English. That city is a model for the international organization, for the presence of NGO, for the presence of convention of Geneva, who is the convention for the prisoners. So we have in that city a model of dialogue, diplomacy, international organization. Second, of course, is for the financial presence of some of the most important global investors around the world, and we will need more than today finance.